Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, Episode 3, Rogue Wall Enthusiasts.
You hate this wall.
Bibbs, Alonso. That reminded me of The Jerk.
Yeah, get away from the cans. He hates the cans. We talked a bit about how the last episode of the show, the second episode of the show, lost you a little bit.
Yes.
It started getting a little bit more plot, a little bit more serious. And I think this episode, even though I like the last one fine, I think this episode brings it right back. This is a lot of fun.
It is winning me back, and it's funny watching this show at the same time that we are also watching and discussing Westworld. Because this show is almost starting to feel like a parody of shows like Lost and Westworld that give you these amazingly convoluted puzzle box things to figure out.
Yeah.
I feel like this show is sort of doing that and at the same time mocking the idea of doing that, in that it's sort of putting it all out there. And it's as complicated as you want to make it. It's as not complicated as you want to make it, because so much of it is strictly random. Happenstance and interconnectivity for no apparent reason.
This brings up actually a topic I want to talk about on this week's Westworld, and I'll revisit it then as well. The idea of the difference between a MacGuffin and a mystery box.
Go on.
For those who don't know, a MacGuffin is Alfred Hitchcock popularized this term. It's a plot device that only really matters to the characters. It just gets them out of the house. It's that box in Ronin. It doesn't really matter what's in the box. A mystery box, on the other hand, is something we see a lot in, stuff like Lost, and even a little bit in Westworld, I think, where what is in that box that everyone's after is really enticing. We all want to know the answers to every single question. You can't put a MacGuffin in the mystery box, though.
Right.
Once you open the mystery box, there has to be something there. When it comes to Westworld, we have all of these theories, all of these, all this scrutiny, and if it turns out there's nothing there, it's going to suck. If Dirk Gently has nothing in there, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Because everything, all of these weird machinations, all of these coincidences, all of these things that would normally be met with a lot of scrutiny, the protagonists of the show are meeting them mostly with bemusement.
Yeah, there's a general shrugging of shoulders going on here, which I think is the right tone. I mean, that's what I think makes it kind of a goof on those other shows, where, especially now that we have the internet and people just go bananas with these fan theories, and they look at frames, and they, it's all this, these super convoluted things, which 99 times out of 100, once the show is actually resolved, those theories turn out to be just ridiculous and a waste of time for all involved. And this show almost sort of dares you to take it that seriously, because it doesn't take it that seriously.
Well, and if you look at the idea of the holistic nature of the show, and particularly the two characters, Dirk Gently and
Farah?
No, not Farah. Fiona Dorff. Her character.
Oh, right, yes.
The holistic detective and the holistic assassin.
It's a dude
Bart.
name. Bart?
It's like Bart.
Yeah.
The holistic detective and holistic assassin. They can only do things that the universe wants them to do.
Right.
And everything connects to them. Everything that they do is significant because they're doing it.
Right.
That is basically, so the idea of the holistic nature of the universe is basically just the writer. Max Landis and Douglas Adams before him, anything they said these characters did, they have to do, and they must be significant, because otherwise we wouldn't be reading it or we wouldn't be watching it.
So it's a literal Deus Ex Machina, but the writer is the god.
Yeah, exactly. This show is, what if Max Landis was God? And you know what? I'm entertained. I'm having a good time. Max Landis is God, is a weird universe, and I'm enjoying a lot of it. So I'm not sure what that says.
As long as we can just visit and not have to live there, yes.
Well, it also raises the question, a lot of people have these very hard opinions about Max Landis as a person, because they've seen his Twitter account, they've seen his videos, and they're entitled because he's putting himself out there. But that's a relationship we have with an author that we never used to have.
True.
In the media, you would read an Ernest Hemingway novel back in the 30s and 40s, and you wouldn't necessarily know whether you'd like him as a person. You just knew his work.
Oh, believe me, I don't want most writers to be God. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm just saying, your opinion about the writer doesn't necessarily have to impact your opinion of the work. Dirk Gently is solid. It's a really entertaining show, and this is a fun one. Let's talk about the actual nuts and bolts of the episode.
Yes. Okay, so we are finding out now that pretty much all the things that has sort of been posited are true, in that the young kidnapped girl is indeed living inside of the corgi and vice versa.
Yes. Although it bothered me that the corgi inside of her body was panting, because dogs do that because they sweat there. Humans sweat all over the place. A dog wouldn't need to do that.
True, but if a dog doesn't know that, they just
the dog can feel that it's sweaty.
It could just be a habit.
I'll let it slide. I just wanted to mention
Fair
it
enough.
and be a jerk.
Okay, the sister decides to leave the house after Dirk suggested that what the heck, and that wound up not going so well. But then when she's in the throes of her worst hallucination, the insane, whatever the ghostly trio. What are those guys' names? I can never remember them.
We got to bring some other people on the show who actually take notes.
Remember things.
Because every time we do like Westworld, we have our friends who actually
Tim
have the
in
notes and know the
and
names.
he's better at this than we are.
But it's interesting, and then they save her, and she seems to have a vision of what looks maybe like the future, in which like that.
Yes.
The one image that really came to mind was of the one FBI stooge, like the dumb, muscly
Kubrick?
assassin. Yeah.
Or no, Friedkin. Sorry,
Friedkin.
I knew it was a director. Friedkin.
Yeah, Friedkin, who it looked like he was like acting like a serial killer. Like I'm thinking he might go insane or something, having to deal with all because he seems like. They play it as a joke, but basically he just follows orders.
Yeah.
If the universe isn't ordered, what would that do to his head? And I can imagine him going insane.
And so obviously there's some sort of vision there that seems to portend larger things for her, or a larger placement in all of this.
Yeah. I love it when she came back to the apartment at the end, and Dirk introduced her to Farah and saying she's fantastic, and her delivery of "you're fantastic" is just basically just like I would rip my clothes off right now and just take you. Like there was something just really funny about that, especially with her brother in the room.
I am loving Elijah Wood's sort of like nervous crush on Farah.
Oh yeah,
That's he's playing that in a very fun way.
This is a show that I think needs a couple of straight people, and we have two.
Yeah.
And both of them are knocking it out of the park because we have Elijah Wood, and we see the parallel very, very on the nose, clearly same dialogue between Dirk and Bart.
Yes.
And their new proteges.
Right.
As they both come to the sort of realization, oh my God, the universe is this way, and you are indeed a prophet of sorts.
But we find out that Dirk also is part of Operation Black Wing, which we don't know what that is yet, but it's
it seems to be a government organization, kind of like the Fury, where the government like collected people who had psychic powers, or even Firestarter.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of Landis's American Ultra, as I've said before, like the secret government program, which presumably Bart was also a part of?
That would be the implication, because I think Bart talked about having other people around as well.
Yeah.
And that's probably why she knows Dirk Gently in any capacity. I love it when Dirk is confronted with his former, I don't know what he'd be, boss, overseer, whatever. And he's like a scared child who's finding out playtime is over.
Yeah, he's literally hiding behind the stair banister.
It's a really good performance. And it's just the way that he's like, I don't get to be a private detective anymore, but people say I'm good at it. And I really just, for a character who just breezes along like nothing matters, it really showed me how much I'd come to care about him in only 3 episodes. There's this one line he has, it's one of my favorite lines of dialogue of the year. It's when Dirk says, I don't know anything, ever. It's actually very relaxing. And I'm like, that sounds great. I really want to be like that.
And then there's Spring's Will, which leaves Farah the other machine that other people are after.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's going to end up being a time travel machine. Like they were going to change the time travel machine for a soul swapper.
Because we know there has to be a time travel machine involved because that's how Elijah Wood sees
Maybe
himself.
Maybe it's powered by the human soul. That's why Dirk can pick up the thing and the light bulb and it turns on.
Oh, I just thought it was one of those sort of Tesla doohickeys. But
that's all. They're all fun.
Yeah,
they're all fun. Anyway, there's a lot going on, and we are unfortunately out of time. But speculate, wildly speculate.
Oh, by all means,
YouTube comments. Let us know what you think.
Or better yet, don't speculate. That's the great thing about this show.
It
can just wash right over you.
Happen to you.
And I think that we were saying before about we don't know what the numbers of the show are like. Are people watching it? And I'm thinking I could totally see this as the kind of thing that people might watch 1 or 2 of and think, I'm going to wait until this is all done and then just
I highly recommend binging this one because I got to watch like the first 3 like in a row and it was really entertaining.
I think given the little things that it's dropping along the way and just the sort of running jokes and whatnot, it's gonna play really great in 1 or 2 massive binging sessions. But
all right.
We're gonna be here every week, so we hope you'll join us for those.
Live gently.